like a 50% opacity or whatever thing on him and switch the material, it's not going to light properly, but then again, you're stealth, so why would it light properly? I mean, what would that even look like? Shadows are going to get all fucked up. But then again, that's not really the worst thing in the world. So I mean, we could grab that. Do we have the emissive stuff in here? Glow scale is there. Depth offset. Roughness. Diffuse tint. Do we have the emissive color? It is in there. Like, we have emissive tint. Ah, we do not have emissive tint. Alright, so we need to add that over here. I mean, we could at least see what breaks. So what we'd want to do is basically inside of our object, we'd want to switch the material out, so we'd want, oh man, this would be our regular material and then our stealth material, so it's going to be a because we'd want to swap your fellow players as well. So we have our sprite material, and I guess this is, yeah, our sprite material there, which is what is set in somewhere. Okay, so we're going to want a set material for stealth flag here, and we want a Boolean stealthed, and this will be false. And this will be true. Yeah, that's definitely what we're going for. What the fuck? Just because the name change was pending, this thing gets all pissy with me? Yeah, if it's gonna work for one player, it's gonna work for everybody. It has to. Alright, so the regular material is going to be masked lit spray. Is it actually masked lit tricolor sprite? Is that what we actually have going on here? Yeah, I think it's the tricolor sprite. So I'm going to have to create another thing here for that. Alright, and I should actually do... Alright, we already have the sprite material. We just need stealth material, and this should be a dynamic material instance dynamic. Yeah, it should be that. And we'll need to create that. Alright. So I need to make the tricolor translucent thing. Alright, so translucent tricolor spray. Alright. Alright, so we have our source texture, coordinates, and everything else. Our alpha channel needs to go here. And our diffuse needs to go here. I believe that's all we have to do. This isn't a two-sided thing? Translucent lit sprite. I guess it's not two-sided either. Alright, well, we'll try it out. It may be that the whole thing is screwed because these are outdated material sets. So normals are there, the emissive tint is there. Do I have something else for the emissive tint? It's just white. Additional textures. I guess I'm not putting anything in the additional textures, so there's no lit portion. But this seems really flat. I'm guessing it's because, yeah, it's the empty normal map. Okay, so that's fine. So, char normals. Char texture, char normals, and this is char emissives. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. We don't have a diffuse tint in this either, do we? So we need the diffuse tint and the vertex color? Yeah, so diffuse tint needs to go in as well. And we're going to need to add that to the other thing, I believe. So mask lit sprite has a diffuse tint, translucent lit sprite does not have a diffuse tint. Just gotta keep adding all the things here, don't I? Alright, so that was mask lit sprite, this one here. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. I'm pretty sure Adam responded to your forum post about that, Lucas. And I don't think it was unbaked lighting, it was purposeful lighting or something like that. Oh, so we don't have normals on a translucent... Okay, so why don't we have normals? Lighting will be calculated for a volume without directionality. This is for smoke and dust, cheapest. Okay, so this is volumetric directional. Okay, so we will have directional lighting if we do it this way. Okay. I don't know if Adam has a list of bugs that he's crunching down on, but default lit. Surface forward shading, screen space reflections. This thing didn't duplicate properly, did it? Like, it didn't actually allow custom subsurface forward shading. Yeah, so it needs to be subsurface forward shading and then allow custom depth rates. Okay, that's starting to look like we actually have this properly done. Masslet sprite. Yeah, this thing didn't actually do it properly. We gotta compile all our texture, our shaders. Okay, so where are we actually? Is it in begin play where we snag our or is it in like construction script or? Alright, so where do we actually set the sprite material? Right here is the only one? So set team colors, if sprite material is not valid, then we're gonna make it here. So okay, so we're gonna need to basically copy this stuff out of here. So we'll make both of those the first time we roll through, and we're going to call set shader variables, which should set all the things. And we're going to want to, in our stealth settings, where is stealth settings called? we call it at the end, so I guess we're going to want stealth settings called before set team colors, because set team colors does the stuff. So stealth settings is just going to set our current material. So set shader variables, like we have our sprite material. I should probably change this stuff to, it's under team, right? So this will be default sprite material, and this is going to be stealth sprite material, and then we're going to have our current sprite material. Alright, so we'll set it to current when we start, and inside of set shader variables, we're going to use this current sprite material every single time instead. Just gotta do a whole bunch of copy paste stuff all over the place. This will also pave the way for us to have different materials on these guys depending upon different states that we need. Because who knows, we might have other things in the future that we want entirely separate materials to be applied to the player. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is actually implement the stealth settings. The set material for stealth. Okay, so if we are stealthed, we're going to set our current sprite material to our stealth material. So pretty simple. We can see if any of this stuff actually works. Let's set the opacity to 0.5. Alright, well, let's boot it up and see if I completely screwed up everything. Are those the right colors for this guy? Yeah, okay, so it is swapping our team stuff in there. Error access none, trying to read set scalar parameter value. I mean, if we call this the first time, right, this will get the team. Last team is none. Yeah, let's just throw a breakpoint in here and make sure this actually gets hit and all that. Nope. Alright, we need to change how some of this logic works. We need to make another function here, which is like create materials. I'm not sure why I stuck all that crap in there anyway to begin with. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do in this graph is not set team colors, but call create materials. That should do it. Alright. So we'll see if our stealth material works whatsoever on this thing. It appears to be lit and shadowed properly for that, so we didn't screw up our main stuff. Have they always looked like that? I think they have. Alright, so the thing is, we're never actually engaged in stealth stuff, so we need to look at the... It's in the player logic object, stealth settings. So this is not the correct way to do it. This is just doing visible and invisible. And playing some effects and stuff like that. What we actually want to do is, if it's the same team as a local player, set it to true. We need to know if that person is actually stealthed or not. Okay, so the difference here is that we don't actually want to do this line here. We want to hook this up down here, and if it's the same team as our local player, we're going to want to do something like this. So both of these things that are heading into here should head into here. So if it's the same team, then we do this. Otherwise we do that. And we won't play any effects, is what it looks like. Alright, I guess we should be calling set material for stealth down here as well. Just because. So it really should be. Alright, well, we'll just see how it works. So we should be stealth to begin with, so we should see ourselves as transparent. It just doesn't look correct. So we are stealth, so we're setting our current material. We're setting our opacity to 0.5. Okay, but we're not actually swapping our... We're not actually swapping the material that we're drawing this thing with. So when we call set material, we need to go to our logic object, set team colors. No, it's create materials. We need to set our material. So we need to grab the flipbook, set material. So we actually draw it properly. Oh, Jesus. Now it looks like it's all sorts of fucked up. It's like some screwed up Super Nintendo game. Alright, let's see if I've just completely screwed everything up. Alright, so the issue is something to do with the translucent sprite. Alright, so I need to really look at everything to make sure that it's correct. Yeah, Lucas, I'm not really interested in a lot of the bug fix stuff right now. I'm working on other stuff, so I don't want to think about it. Okay, so what is... And the texture coordinates are there. So that's all set. It's red, blue, and green channels. Surface translucent, default lit, two-sided, roughness, allow custom depth rights. Let's see, index of refraction. Oh, alright. So we have our source texture, diffuse tint. We've got our roughness, additional texture 0, which is normals of paper 2D sprite. And then we have emissive paper 2D sprite, additional texture 1. Emissive tint is there, roughness, and everything else. Okay, it's going to be that we're not calling set shader variables or something like that? Is that what's going to be happening here? Is that we switch our team colors, like set team colors only actually calls all this stuff otherwise. Alright, so set shader variables needs to be called inside of set material. Alright, so something like this. So we'll see how this actually does its thing. So something's wrong with the texture coordinates? I mean, it looks like just the sprites are all offset and screwed up somehow. Like it's... There's got to be something here that I'm doing wrong, so let's double check the material. So stealth sprite material, Dashkin translucent tricolor sprite. I mean, I guess maybe what I can do is just duplicate that tricolor sprite material. Actually, why don't I try setting the sprite stealth material to the masked tricolor? So they're both the same material? That way I'll know it's the material that I've got that's screwed up and not something else. Okay, yeah, so there's something wrong with the translucent tricolor material. So why don't we just get rid of it, basically. If we just duplicate the other one. We do Dashkin translucent tricolor sprite 2. And we'll make this translucent. Alright, and then let's go back to our player logic object and the sprite stealth material. Let's do the translucent lit or translucent tricolor sprite 2. Okay, so that's what it looks like if you're stealthed, 50% opacity, and it does show you come out of stealth. The dot looks pretty dumb though. See what it looks like with multiple players roaming around. So it's not the worst thing ever. Shadow Bitey. You can't see. Was there anything else after this that I needed to mess with? Alright. Well, I mean, it works. It's not the best thing ever, but I mean, it's something. And you know, we can screw around with that. That we can at least do some translucent stuff and whatever. You know, who cares? It's something. I like the invisible dash trail of dirt all over the place. Alright, so the next thing I should do is I should actually spawn in a few bots and make sure that they're looking correct. Yeah, they're looking alright. The bots, though, are going to absolutely cheat with stealth mode because they can see you. They know where you are. Just punch the bots that are all stealth. I should see what this looks like otherwise. Like with one client and I make a bunch of bots that are stealthed. What does it look like? Why is the frame rate trash? It's not trash. Trying to hit these stealth bots. You just come out of nowhere and punch you in the face. Get out of here, you bastards. You can see him coming after me. Bam. Bots do not know what to do with all this. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about either. Oh, the reason the performance was bad earlier was because I was compiling shaders, is what it looks like. Damn. Bots out of nowhere, Jesus. God. The sons of bitches. He's celebrating like an asshole. Alright. So I think that's pretty much all the things working. Yeah, I'll leave that stuff to you so you can get the cool stuff happening in there.